Welcome to another weekly hangout. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you had a good week. Mine was pretty good. I ended up getting sick with a cold, so if I sound off, that's why. I'm dealing with a lovely cold. So is my daughter, and so are my nieces. So we're all sick. So how's everybody else doing? Anybody do anything exciting this week? Anybody have any adventures? See any cool shows you want to talk about? Or that you discovered that were classics that you've never seen before? My sister and I watched a movie today. It's called The Imaginary, and it's about imaginary friends, and it was really well done. It was Ghibli-esque in the sense that it's focused primarily on children and the whimsical, but it was actually pretty dark. Like, the whole concept is this young girl. She has an imaginary friend, and the imaginary friend is the target of this man who devours imaginary friends and apparently has used this ability to extend his life beyond its natural end. And he did it because he didn't want to lose his imaginary friend. Keep in mind, his imaginary friend looks like the girl from The Grudge. Like, long black hair, dark circles in her eyes, like, it looks like his imaginary friend was The Grudge. It was terrifying. And the motivation originally, again, like I said, was he didn't want to forget her. He didn't want to grow up, basically, and no longer be in the world of the imaginary. So in order to maintain it, he has to eat imaginary friends. Well, he finds this little girl, Amanda's imaginary friend, and his name is Rudger. R-U-G-E-R, not Roger, Rudger. And Rudger is apparently a very strong imaginary friend. You don't know why at the start. It becomes revealed later. But through their interactions with this guy who's trying to eat Rudger, Amanda is injured. And I mean, they full on showed how she got injured. She got hit by a freaking car. I mean, full on hit by the car. And hello, not Abby. I'm discussing the movie I saw today. It's called The Imaginary. It's I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Netflix. It's kind of like a Ghibli film in the fact that it deals with children and whimsical fantasy elements. But it's not, I don't think it is Ghibli. I think it was Netflix. It was Netflix, but it was really good. Hello. Hello. Anyway, so the little girl who's the main character, she gets injured, and we end up following her imaginary friend through his journey, because it's revealed he starts to disappear. So what I mean by disappear is, it's not that she gets injured and he's gone. It's herself, like her subconscious is starting to forget imagination and being a child all the time. So he has to deal with that. He ends up going to this realm called the library and meets other imaginary friends. It's kind of like it's kind of like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And I almost mean that quite literally, because the imaginary friends can be like short-term playmates for other kids who don't have permanent imaginary friends. And through the course of playing with the imaginary friends, the kid can decide that they want that friend for themselves, which is actually pretty cool. It happens to this one. His name is Crusher of Bones. It's this teeny tiny little thing, little skeleton thing, that if you flick its arm, its eyes go like oh god, I can't even think of it. I see it all the time. It's the gambling thing. Slot machine. Eyes go like a slot machine, and it'll dispense candy out its mouth. So cute. Anyway, ends up being adopted after interacting with a child, and it was a really sweet moment. So the library kind of serves like foster's home for imaginary friends, only they're able to go out and actively participate with children once they get to that realm, once they've been forgotten by their original kid. Of course, there's the rule that if you don't make it to the library by a certain time, you will disappear. So there's that, which I'm not going to spoil anything, but that does come into play at some point. I think the cool part for me was, and other than how well written it was and how well it was just made overall, there was this voice actor that I did not expect to be in it, and it was, what the fuck just happened? Give me one sec, guys. That was weird. I know none of you asked, but if you were curious what just happened, I was watching Hulu, and my remote was on the other side of the room, and there's no one here except me. But it got switched over to Netflix. I mean, I didn't touch it. I couldn't have touched it. I didn't. The only remote I have next to me is this one, and all this one does is the power and the volume. This is the one that does the TV, and it was on the other side of the room. And that was just creepy as hell. To answer the question of do you believe in God? Yeah, and I think I just had an experience with the supernatural, so I'm gonna see if it happens again. That was creepy as fuck. Oh man. Anyway, getting back to the movie that I was talking about, the voice actor that was in it that I didn't expect, but it was really cool, was LeVar Burton, who, if you did not grow up, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, he hosted a show called Reading Rainbow. That's how I know him. A lot of other people know him through Star Trek. He was in Star Trek. He was a really good actor in Star Trek, and he was also in Raisin in the Sun. But I know him from Reading Rainbow, and it was really cool to have him in this movie that was essentially about, they had the place called the library. It was all about imagination. It was all about childhood, and that's kind of what Reading Rainbow was about, was kind of trying to capture the essence of childhood in a way with reading and interacting and never really quite letting go of your imagination. So I really liked that they included him, and they included him in a really sweet way. I'm not going to spoil it because because this one is actually a movie I highly recommend that everybody go watch. So Reading Rainbow was exclusively on PBS. I do know that. Because he and, no, I'm not starting out early, sweetie. It's the right time. We might be off here. It was, The Big Comfy Couch. And yes, I do. And my daughters watched it, and I've rewatched it with her, and I'm like, this show holds up just as much. It's pretty cool. The girl who played Lynette in the first couple of seasons, I don't know the actress's name, but her husband ended up being a developer and writer for the Resident Evil series. Oh, you don't have daylight savings time, do you, in Australia? Because that might be why. Because US has daylight savings time. I don't know if the rest of the world does. I think the rest of the world thinks we're crazy for keeping it, and I do too, but whatever. Yeah, my kids are like, what is this? My daughter's done that a couple of times with some shows I've shown her. Then she ends up liking them in if she finds them on her own organically, and so I'm like, I'm not gonna introduce you to anything. Like her, hey Blue, good to see you. But a show my daughter really likes that I don't even remember if I introduced it to her or if she just found it because she has the PBS Kids app on her tablet, was Arthur. And now it's something she and I watch together, and I enjoy rewatching it because it was a really good show. I don't like some of the later seasons, but I do like the older ones. And I get to make fun of it now as an adult, which is also fun. And my daughter will agree with me on certain things. Invader Zim is good. Invader Zim is not for my 5-year-old, though. It may, yeah, Wolf, it may have just been daylight savings time just threw us all off on this one. That's about all I got. Yeah, right. I've tried showing her other shows. Like I said, if she discovers them on her own, she seems to like them. If I introduce them to her, she's not real keen on it, which is fine. I understand. Most of the Disney stuff, though, I did end up showing her myself. And she likes most of the Disney stuff that I've shown her. She likes some of the Disney stuff I don't like. And then there's some Disney stuff I really like and think she should like, and she doesn't. So it's just a thing. And depends on what you're watching. She really, really, really likes she does not like Lion King. She actually told me that she hates Lion King, and I'm like, yeah, fair, I do too. Like, it's not a bad movie. I just don't get the hype. Like, I watch it, and it's just Hamlet with lions. And Hamlet's, like, a decent Shakespeare play. I actually preferred Lion King 1.5 and Lion King 2 to the original Lion King. And I love the Timon and Pumbaa show. I miss them doing that. I absolutely loved the Little Mermaid show that showed Ariel's life before the movie. I love the Aladdin show. Oh my god, that one was so good. Its crossover with Hercules was amazing. And I love the Hercules show as well. I've rewatched it, and it's just like, this is awesome. The Timon and Pumbaa Show, Hercules, Aladdin, Little Mermaid. I want to say there were some other ones. Oh fuck. What were the other ones? My brain's not registering. I know that they were trying to have a Belle one. That ended up being 3 episodes and went straight to VHS and was not very good because Belle and Beast were just squabbling like a bitter old married couple. It was bad. Like, it didn't fit the flow at all. I know I haven't met anybody that remembers this like I do, and I wonder if any of you guys remember too. But there used to be, and I would watch it because it would come on early, a live action Beauty and the Beast show. It was like Belle's reading corner, Belle's reading time or some shit like that, where she would go to the bookstore and read with these kids and stuff. And I loved the fuck out of that. So part of me wonders if it was a fever dream, but I think I've seen somebody reference it somewhere, and I'm like, okay, so it was a real thing. Just not a lot of people watched it. Because again, it was on at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something ridiculous like that. Like, it was something I didn't really watch all that often, but when I did, I really loved it. So there's that. So they did do a live action Beauty and the Beast thing before the movie. But I really liked that one. I also liked the Winnie the Pooh that was like the puppets. It was like, yeah, it was like a Muppet puppet kind of Winnie the Pooh show. It was really good too. I remember that one. There were a lot of really good shows, and they're not all on Disney either, on Disney Plus anymore. Anyway, one show I tried to show my daughter that I really liked when I was little was, I haven't seen it. I really wanted to. I know it was made just because the patent licensing, whatever the hell you want to call it, ran out on Winnie the Pooh, so they just made it for the fun of it because they could. But it was really good. Was that for kids, or are you talking? No, I'm not talking about no, that one's I've heard about that one. That one's good. No, this one was a kids show. Like, Belle would come to the bookstore like she does in the beginning of the animated movie, and she would sit and she would read to these kids, and they would talk about different things, that they would go on adventures, and she had different friends, and sometimes I think Gaston would be there. Like, it was a legitimate thing. It was trying to build on it was trying to kind of be like Reading Rainbow, but with with Disney characters. It was really good. Obviously, that's just my opinion, because apparently nobody else remembers the show. Maybe I imagined it all. I have no idea. But it was real to me. And no, I did not like Once Upon a Time. I have heard things about it. I have tried to watch it. I just can't do Once Upon a Time. I don't know if it was around with Lamb Chop. I know it was on Disney. I know it was like in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I know it came on early. That's about all I remember. Like, I still have like somewhat some memories of it, but it's like, if I just tell you, it's not really showing you. But it was really, it was still really good. I wish they would bring back put some of the stuff on Disney that should have been there to start with. Like, they're missing so many shows and so many movies. Or they're just revamping the shit, and it's like, that's not really cool. And like, I don't know. It's like, some of the stuff you just can't remake because you miss out on all the, oh my god, I love Captain Planet. I am not looking forward to the fact that they're making a live action movie or series about Captain Planet. Because he has to be a blue muscly dude with fucking green hair, green mullet. He has to have a green fucking mullet. Otherwise, that's not my Captain Planet. It can be anybody under that makeup, but that makeup has to be specific. It has to look like Captain Planet. And I mean, it has to have the green mullet. Like, is it Captain Planet without the green mullet? No. So it has to have the green mullet. Don't care who's cast in it. Don't care about any of that. I just want the mullet. I just want Captain Planet to look like Captain Planet. Get whoever you want under the makeup. Don't care. Just has to have the act. He just has to look like Captain Planet. Speaking of Freak and old cartoons, you remember Freakazoid? When they tried to revamp Mickey Mouse Club. Is that like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse little kids show? Or Mickey Mouse Club like the one that Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, and all of them were part of? Your mom like Captain Planet? I made a joke one time about, I can't remember what. Oh, yeah. Somebody was making the joke about how the characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender are kind of like the kids in Captain Planet. You know, we have fire, wind, water, earth. And then everybody's like, well, what's Sokka? I'm like, it's heart. He's the heart of the group, so he's heart. Oh, I didn't know they tried to revamp that. I'm kind of glad that didn't stick. Him was like, I don't even know. But I will say, probably the most adult episode of the Powerpuff Girls was, hey Shar, Avatar, yes, no, okay. Avatar: The Blue Skinned Aliens, yes. Avatar: The Last Airbender getting a new season on Netflix. Not animated, live action. Anyway, yeah. Powerpuff Girls is a lot weirder when you realize Chemical X is ecstasy. Explains a lot. But no, the single weirdest episode of Powerpuff Girls was the Boogeyman episode. Him should not have been it, and that Boogeyman episode should not have been made. Like, should not have been made. There was a lot wrong with that episode. A lot wrong. They slipped a lot into that episode. Like, yeah, a lot. But anyway, with him, I think the freakiest episode for me was when he altered reality for the girls. And he made it seem like they'd been gone for 50, 60 years or something like that. And like the whole town was dilapidated and decrepit, and their teacher was just standing at the school waving. And she was like, they're gone. They've been gone 60 years. And it's like, this is freaky as hell. Oh, and then there was Sedusa. Like, this should not have been in a kid's show. And then you're like, what was this rated? It was rated, like, for young kids. But you watch it as an adult and you're like, oh, if this were made nowadays, this would be like on borderline Adult Swim time. Like, this would have been, this would have been marketed towards adults. This was not for kids. That one was weird. That one was really weird. That one was weird. Johnny Bravo should not have been made at all. And the fact it got greenlit is insane. But nowadays it probably wouldn't get made. Johnny Bravo was, like, you can watch it and it's objectively funny, but just don't take it too seriously. At all. I have watched Chip and Dale Rescue Heroes. No. Yeah. Rescue Heroes. Rescue Rangers. Something like that. Yeah. I watched Chip and Dale when they did the... It was either Rescue Heroes or Rescue Rangers. I can't remember. But I liked that one. Miss Bellum was one of my favorite characters. Oh, yeah. We love Miss Bellum. She was fantastic. I always thought Chip and Dale was kind of a riff on those Gophers from Looney Tunes. The sophisticated Gophers. I loved them. They were so great. We are like 90s babies. Yes, we are. Oh, yeah. Do you remember Goof Troop with Goofy and Max? That one was a really good one. It came out around the same time as Rescue Rangers. I'm just going to call it Rescue Rangers. And there's also Tailspin. Nice. My name? 90. I was 94. But, yeah. Freaking Tailspin was awesome. It always bothered me, though, because it's like, these are clearly the characters from Jungle Book, but nothing that happened in Jungle Book is happening with the characters. So what happened with Jungle Book? That always drove me nuts as a kid. I'm like, they're supposed to be from this movie. Why isn't Mowgli here? Why isn't this happening? What, like, I didn't understand the idea of it being an alternate thing, but now I do, and I'm like, no, Tailspin is freaking awesome, and I loved that one. I thought Baloo was I always liked Baloo. Jungle Book was great. Live action was different. Yeah, I haven't seen the this is gonna, yeah. I remember there was a Jungle Book movie that came out in the early 2000s, and the reason I say early 2000s is my brother was very little, and he was born in 2000. And I remember it, and it was basically like, it was a live action Jungle Book. I don't even know if it's on Disney, because it was Disney. And basically they just filmed like the animals that are in. It just looked like kind of a nature documentary with people talking over it. It wasn't CGI'd animals. It wasn't. They filmed real animals in nature, in their habitat, and then just put people speaking over it. I thought that was cool. Like, and it was Mowgli, and it was the story, like the whole story of Jungle Book, and it was Baloo and Bagheera. It was like, it was and I think it was Disney, because I'm pretty sure Disney was the only one making anything Jungle Book. But that one was the only one I remember watching. Looking at it now, I'm like, it might have been old, but I'd rather watch that than this new crap. I don't know. Them putting King Louie as that giant, the giant creature, like the giant orangutan was just, what? He looked bigger than anything. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jay. I really enjoyed talking with you as well. I feel like Jungle Book has so many live action. It really did, if you think about it. Cinderella too. And Beauty and the Beast does have a lot more than we've seen. We just know a few. I watched one that was French. It was really good, by the way. But it was more in the style of the original story, like from the like, you know, where it's not like the enchanted castle shit. It was more like that. And there was the Disney one, and there was the one that Blue mentioned. What else was there? There's been a few adaptations of Beauty and the Beast too. I think there's a couple of French ones just because it's a French story, so they've made a lot of French live action movies. Because I remember I watched one in middle school that I haven't seen since. Then I watched the French one, and I watched the Disney one, and then there's the show, and then there's Once Upon a Time, and then there's the show I mentioned. Like, there's a lot of different adaptations for it, too. Oh, the Tarzan show. That was the other one I had forgotten, Blue. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, but there was Tarzan. He had his own show, which was freaking awesome, by the way. I loved the Tarzan show. The Tarzan series was really good. Tarzan and Jane, I think it was called. It was so good. I loved it. Their relationship was so solid. It was so lovely to see. I can't remember. I don't remember the name of the actress who was in it, and I'd seen her in a couple of things. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and end now, since it froze. If you can still hear me, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really had a great time talking with all of you, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, everybody.